Hey everybody, have a book review for you today. Your Money or Your Life by Joe Dominguez and Vicki Robin. This is a fabulous book. Next year it'll have its 25th anniversary. It's a classic for all you budgeting frugal friends out there. A lot of you have read it. This is a classic. The wonderful thing about this book is it's full of exercises for you to do to learn more about your life and your money. And one of the first exercises that they have you do at the very beginning of the book is they want you to calculate how much money you've made in your entire life. They want you to go all the way back to your high school job when you were just a kid. They want you to add it up, and you are going to be shocked. I never thought I made much in my life, but I was surprised. And so ultimately you're going to look at that number and you're going to ask yourself, where did it go? What do I have to show for it? That's kind of where they start this book. From there, they want you to do another interesting task, which is calculate your actual wage. Now, this seems like an easy question, but it's not as easy as you think. A person would say, oh, I make 20 bucks an hour. No, your actual wage is what you make minus how much money it takes for you to actually have that job. So, of course, those are numbers like your second car that you bought, the insurance for that car, the gas for that car, things like eating out at work. Are you having to do that because you're not at home to eat less expensive? Do you need daycare? That will throw the number off a lot. And also, they're going to get really personal. They're going to also incorporate into that number vacations. Sometimes people have to take these fabulous long vacations because they just have to get out of town because they're so stressed out with their job. So all these things can bring, and they did it in this book, a person who's making 20 bucks an hour down to like $4 or $5 an hour of actual wage. And so that's a really interesting thing to do in this book. And then what they're going to have you do is they're going to have you make a big chart, like one of those third grade charts. And they want you to tabulate a whole month of spending. And they're going to give you a chart in here as to what it will look like, all the categories. And for 30 days, you're going to write down every dollar that you spent, and then you got to look at it and look at it all month long. And then at the end of the 30 days, this is what they're going to have you see. You will have a clear, tangible mirror of your actual life, your income and your expenses over time. In this mirror, you will see exactly what you're getting for the time you invest in making money. So, once you have that picture, they want you to ask this question. Did I receive fulfillment, satisfaction, and value in proportion to life energy spent? Because here's the reality, as they point out in the book, every hour you are using your life energy. So when I look at that chart, do I say, that was a waste of my energy? If you went out to lunch for $15 and you realize that what you actually make every hour is $5 an hour and you spent $15 at lunch, you would say, holy cow, I just spent 3 hours at my job just to have the pleasure of that lunch. That didn't bring me much pleasure. But you can also look at a night out with the love of your life and say, that was the best money I ever spent. It brought me so much pleasure. And then you can start looking at those numbers and bringing the ones up that bring you pleasure and stop spending on those ones that don't do that. And so it's super important to get a good, big, broad perspective of where your dollars are actually heading. And ultimately what the book does, which I think is so wonderful, is it has you actually ask yourself, how much is enough? Because when you look at a picture, we often are comparing ourselves to other people. But when you see what you spend money on and what brings you pleasure, you can say, that's enough. I don't need these other things. These are the things that are just enough for me and for my life energy that I'm willing to spend for it. Another interesting thing that they do in chapter 7 is they look at work and income, and they make a distinguishing thing between the two. You know, in a world that is so defined by our jobs, what do? It can feel overwhelming when somebody asks that question. But if what you love to do, let's say you're a Sunday school teacher, you can say that you're a teacher because that's something that brings you love and joy into your life. You don't have to be defined by your income. That doesn't have to be who you are. And so I just think it's just a wonderful book. I would love for you to read it. Once again, Your Money or Your Life, I think you will be inspired in the same way that I was. Enjoy.